protection of Child Marriage Act 2006, disadvantages of child marriage, the Immoral Trafficking Prevention Act 1956 and Amendment 2006. Children, in today's class, we shall discuss about the Dowry Prohibition Act 1961 and also about the protection of women from domestic violence, misconceptions and realities, to whom we should complain, and also about Lok Adalats. Let us start the lesson. Dowry Prohibition Act 1961. Children, what is dowry? That is the amount which is given by the bride's father to the bridegroom's father for the marriage. It is called as dowry, and long back in the year 1961 itself it has been prohibited, but illegally still this is in continuation. So, in this the most sufferer is the woman. So, there is an urgent necessity to keep this point before everyone and also to stop the occurrence of taking of the dowry and even giving the dowry to the bridegroom's father. So, if the people are there to give, the people are there to receive. So, that must be brought to an end. So, what happens if the dowry is taken or given? Let us try to understand. If a person gives or takes or abets dowry, he or she shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term not less than 5 years and fine not be less than 15,000 rupees or the amount of the value of such dowry whichever is more. So, dowry should not be given or taken. So, if such incidents take place, the police comes and it will investigate, and if anything such taking or receiving of dowry or amount is done, then there are strict punishments for those who gave and who took the dowry, the imprisonment of 5 years, and even whatever the amount of dowry taken by that person has to be given to the court. Now, let us learn. So, we have discussed that what is the dowry. Dowry is taking the money from the bride's parents. So, it may not be up to the economic status to give such a huge amount, and the girl child and even their family suffers. So, due to that it has been completely prohibited, and people, those who does such kind of crime must be punished severely. So, there is a punishment of 5 years of imprisonment and even the amount to be given to the court. The next is parents can present offerings, articles in marriage. These offerings must be as per the law. So, what are the offerings? Means whatever parents feel like to be given for their child's sake, out of love and affection, the gifts can be given, those can be called as offerings. So, what are those offerings must be enlisted. So, and even offerings can't be demanded also. So, the bridegroom's parents or the bridegroom cannot demand the offerings to be given. These are all various things to be given, such as electronics or such as any vehicle. It should not be a demand, but out of love and affection parents can present the offerings to their girl child. The offerings must be as per one's cultural norms and the traditions, and the value of the offering shall not be over and above the parent's economic status and never become a burden to the family. The value of the offerings shall not be over or above the parent's economic status and never become a burden to the family. So, whatever the economic status or ability of the parents of the girl, that much only can be the offerings. It should not be more than that, and it should not become a burden to that family. So, these are all the various things to be kept in mind and also should be presented before the bridegroom's parents and even before the bridegroom, so that they accept the for such kind of marriage. And if they demand more than that, that marriage can be cancelled or even it can be informed to the concerned authorities. After the marriage, if the bride is teased or scolded, abused, beaten and sometimes killed or forced to commit suicide. So, at the time of marriage, some parents will accept whatever is given, and after marriage they will start demanding more amount of money from the bride's parents. So, and it becomes compulsory for the bride to provide whatever the demands that are done by, that are expected by the parents of the boy. So, at such situations, even girls are mentally harassed, and sometimes they will feel scolded, abused and beaten, and sometimes they are forced to commit suicides also. So, these all things should not take place, and women protection is compulsory. Women protection is a compulsory factor, and what are the steps to be taken to protect the women? What are the different laws that are there to protect the women and also respect and dignity? So, let us see. How is this possible? Let us try to understand how to protect women from the domestic violence. So, creating proper sensitivity and awareness is a must for the women as well as the families, to the society, so that they become aware. They should have knowledge about all the different laws and they can respond when the situation arises. And effective monitoring towards women's issues among the machinery of implementation, such as police and also other assisting agencies. So, when such things are happening in the society, there is the machinery such as the police and even the assisting agencies are there very active, and they should monitor if such situations are arising in the society, and if they have anything under their notice, they should take the necessary steps. So, these are the two effective measures. One is the creating the sensitivity and awareness, and sensitivity in the sense they should have apathy, they should have the empathy about the feelings of the bride's parents. So, that sensitivity must be developed among the people of the society. They should keep themselves into their own situation. They should keep themselves in that situation and think about the violence as well as the problems of the girl as well as her parents. So, that is creating proper sensitivity and having proper awareness of the different laws that are there in the society for protecting women, and effective monitoring by the machinery, government machinery such as police, which brings the protection to the women. And there are also the national and international governments who have taken up certain declarations and resolutions in order to stop violence against women. So, what are those declarations? So, these declarations also clear the actions proposed to be taken up by the governments towards the development of women. So, in those declaration itself, the measures and the proposals are there which helps women development and women equality and the solution to the problems of the women. So, what are the important resolutions taken by the government at international levels? Let us understand. Government shall take appropriate measures to do away with the discriminations against women in the matters of marriages and family relations. So, government should be very alert, it should take necessary measures to do away with the discriminations, and also in the matters of women's marriages and also family relations, it should be alert and to see that if something is going wrong in somebody's life. And the men and women shall possess equal rights in the matters of family property and also its management. So, in this declaration it is clearly stated that the property belongs to all, even men and women, and they have equal rights, and management of the property also they have equal right over it. The Beijing Declaration and program of action focuses on the following things. So, what does the Beijing Declaration says? It says that violence against women is one of the major causes for the decreasing status of the women in the community when compared to men. Because of the violence, women are facing a lot of mental as well as physical torture, and because of that the status in the society of women is also getting decreased. Mostly women and girls undergo the violence in the family and in home environment, and these things never come out because of the guilt, because of unable to express the problems, and sometimes women will feel that these are all common things and they need not express it also. It is very difficult to identify the domestic violence and address it. So, sometimes women and children, girl child takes it for granted that all these things are common and it happens in all the families, but actually most of the injustices are occurring in most of the families, and which needs to be stopped immediately. Let us try to understand what is domestic violence and how we can exactly find out what is reality and what is wrong about the things that are done to women and children. So, those are the misconceptions, the wrong things that are done, and what are the realities under this. Let us try to understand. The misconception is that parents punishing their children now and then is not a major issue to be considered. So, when parents also do not have the right to punish their children severely. So, it is also a complete wrong, and but the misconception is that it is their right and they can punish their children now and then, but that is completely wrong. Parents cannot punish their children at all. What is the reality? The reality is that domestic violence slowly starts and it becomes a routine if nobody opposes it. So, children and even the educated members of the family try to oppose such kind of violence. Beating to the children is not right in the family. Domestic violence starts, children starts learning about the domestic violence at the time of their tender ages only. The victims are sometimes hospitalized for treatment and even lose their life because of such kind of punishments given by the parents, and it adversely affects their dignity and self-respect. So, parents are not supposed to punish their children severely. The next misconception is addiction to drinking is a major cause of violence. People feel that if a person drinks the alcohol, automatically he will start beating, but what is the reality? That is, the alcoholism for domestic violence is only an assumption, but the statistics reveal that 40% of the men who beats their wives are not addicted to alcoholism. So, it is just a wrong thing that to imagine, to assume that only drinking makes the person get violent, but it is not true. 40% of the men who beats their wives, they do not drink only, but still they beat their wives and beat their children. So, this is also misconception to be understood by the people, especially women and children, and oppose it also. The next misconception is women shall bear the violence for the sake of children, because they do have small children and it is a responsibility to take care of their children, but it is not like bearing the violence for the sake of children, but the reality is that these children will start learning about the violent things in their lives. They also learn, they grow up in the violent atmosphere, and they also chances are that they become more violent in future. So, if you create a violent atmosphere, if they see the violence in their families, somebody beating someone, they also learn many negative things from this. Children, I hope you have understood this point. And the next misconception is there is no way to get out of domestic violence. So, generally people feel that it is their life and they have to manage, and there will be problems in life and we have to continue with all these kind of things in our life. But this is just a misconception, a false thing, and the reality is that the violence free atmosphere is the birthright of every woman. Every woman has the right to not to bear any sort of violence, and they have the right to be in the free atmosphere and enjoy the freedom, develop herself and even empower herself and become a best person in her life. The women protection laws are available and one should seek their support. So, what is the solution? How to solve this kind of problems of domestic violence? The women should approach to the necessary concerned authorities take necessary steps, and they should take the support of the people who are there, who made the laws and who are implementing them. They should go them, approach them, take their help and stop such kind of domestic violence, such kind of harassment over themselves. So, children, these are all the various misconceptions and even the realities. I hope you have understood there are number of wrong things which have become habituated in the society and which should be eliminated, and a world free of all sorts of harassments must be established. So, whom should women and children should complain to get the justice done? Let us understand. To whom to complain? The victims of domestic violence should complain to the police officer or judicial authority like First Metropolitan Magistrate individually. They can go individually directly to them, and even if not possible, they can also call them over phone and express their problem, and even they can email. If they are unable to even go out or call, they can just email the reality to the First Metropolitan Magistrate, so that he or she can take a necessary step. This type of complaints can be filed when domestic violence took place or taking place or will take place. So, when, at what situation this kind of complaint should be given? So, this can be given if the sufferer is having an idea that particular violence is about to take place, or it has already taken place, or it is at that moment taking place. So, in all these situations, the complaint can be given by the victim to the necessary concerned authorities. If the victim is wounded because of the beatings done by her in-laws, or it can be by her spouse or husband or anybody else in their family, she has to be sent for medical treatment first, and then the report should be sent to the concerned police station and even to the magistrate. So, when she is wounded, the police should be informed and even the magistrate should be informed. Children, now let us learn about the Criminal Legal Amendment Act 2013. So, what is the punishment if such kind of problems occur and if the case goes in the hands of the magistrate? So, what punishment the judges can give? So, the first punishment is about minimum 20 years of imprisonment. The second is recruitment of women police to address the complaints of the victims, and it is not necessary for the victim to attend before the police officers individually, but she can complain before her family members and before her supporters. She need not express all her problems individually to the concerned authorities. At the time when acid attacks takes place, so during that time, if the accused dies because the girl or the woman for protecting herself, she might have attacked that person itself, the accused. So, in that struggle, if the accused himself or the person who has done that crime has died, so there will be no case for that upon the woman, and there is scope to shoot video at the time of complaining and trial on the request of victims. When the victims are on the bed and they want to complain about the incident that has happened, especially in the case when they are on the bed. So, if they want to complain, then they can do it, and such a thing can be recorded, can be shooted, so that it becomes an evidence for such people to get the punishments. Now, let us learn about the Lok Adalats. Lok Adalat means people's court, and where people's problems will be heard, and they are established at different places, so that immediate hearing can take place. Immediate hearing can take place. So, Lok Adalat in the sense people's court, and all are equal before the law, and immediate judgments are made possible through the Lok Adalats. The Article 39A of the Constitution of India contains various provisions for settlement of disputes through the Lok Adalats, and it is an act to constitute legal service authorities to provide free and competent legal service to the weaker sections of the society. So, Lok Adalats are mostly established for the purpose, so that the people who are weaker sections of the society, to such people the justice to be done. It should not be like because of their poverty or because of their gender, because of the weaker gender, they should not suffer with the problems and keep quiet or be silent even though they are suffering with the different kinds of harassments and the problems. So that such people can come out, the Lok Adalats have been established and legal services are being given, so that it can be provided to such victims free of cost, and even legal services can be provided to such people which are of free of cost. And who are eligible for this judicial assistance? Citizens who belong to the SCs and STs, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, victims of immoral human trafficking, beggars, women, children, mentally imbalanced and physically imbalanced, physically challenged people, and also victims of natural disasters, and agriculture and industrial laborers, and victims of domestic violence and caste enmity. So, all such people who have been suffering with different kinds of harassments, and because of those harassments their life has been stuck without any development and without any peace of mind, and especially women and the beggars, the children, and even the people who have been the sufferers due to natural disasters and agriculture and industrial laborers, and the homemakers who have been suffering with domestic violence. These all people can apply and they can get the judicial assistance through the Lok Adalats. And citizens who are economically backward, whose income is less than 50,000 rupees, such citizens who are economically and financially backward, who are earning less than 50,000 rupees per annum, such people are also eligible for free judicial assistance. Methods of judicial assistance, let us try to understand. Judicial advice is given free of cost by the advocate. So, the advocates are appointed at different levels, and the people, the victims, approach to them free of cost. The judicial advices will be given to them, so that they can get with their life. And after verification of the cases, and if it is found necessary, advocates may be appointed on behalf of the complainants to take up the cases in the court. So, after the verification, if the and beyond manageable with just the advices, during such situations advocates will be appointed, and they will take up on the cases, and they will be ready to fight for the complainant against such harassments and the problems. And the next one is to bear the expenditure of the court and court fee. So, it is the there will be no expenditure for the people, for the victims who approach to those courts, and the court fee and other expenditures are borne by the government or the Lok Adalats only. The Xerox copies of the judgment will be given free of cost to those who sought judicial assistance. So, after they get the judgment, immediately I said the judgments will be done, and after the judgment is done, the Xerox copies will be given at free of cost. They will not charge even for the Xerox copies of the judgment, and they will be provided to the victims, so that they can have that, and they can go to their place and they can show that judgment, and they can feel free to live a comfortable and a peaceful life. Children, till now we have discussed about the Dowry Prohibition Act, about the misconceptions and the realities, and also about the Lok Adalats. Children, I hope you have understood the lesson in a better way. Let us go for the evaluation part. Evaluation. The first question is, write a few lines about Dowry Prohibition Act 1961. The second question is, prepare a pamphlet to understand the problems faced by the women. The third one is, discuss on the family conditions of people who are addicted to alcohol. How does it affect the children? What would you do if you were in such family? Children, try to answer all these questions, go through the textbooks and even read each and every line and improve your learning. With this, we have come to the end of the class. For better understanding of the concepts, go through the worksheets provided by the SIET. Please visit the official site of SIET for the worksheets. Children, we have come to the end of the class. I hope you have got all the points in a clear way. Go through the textbooks and learn each and every concept, and if there are any doubts, approach to your teacher. With this, we have come to the end of the class. Thank you. Take care.